Welcome, Keto Rock Stars. This is your host, your favorite funny food addict, Rockin Keto Amy. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. Happy Mother's Day. Um, Even if you're not a mother, you had a mother, or you probably know a mother. So I just want to say Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Um, a couple of things before we get started, and we'll say hi to some people. I want to wish a very special mother Happy Mother's Day. Well, my mother, who's probably watching this, but also kudos to my sister Janine, who completed a 24-hour hike down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon today and back. So I wasn't able to be in contact with her while she was doing that, but she did message me that she completed her journey to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, which is very rigorous. If you're not familiar with that. So kudos to her and welcome back from your trip. A couple other things. I now am able to interview people on this channel. I haven't done anybody yet. Jason, who I think is watching, I think he's going to be my first guest. So hopefully that goes well. And I'm probably going to be on his channel. So stay tuned for those details. But if you would like to be a guest on my channel, please send me an email to ketorockstars21@gmail.com. And my email is scrolling at the bottom in the ticker. So tonight's recipe, couple of things. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say hi to a few people first, and then I'll tell you about the recipe. So we've got Carrie in the house. Welcome, Carrie. He's pulling up the boat to the live stream. Row, row, row your boat, Carrie. Just Jason Keto's in the house. Welcome, Jason. I can't wait to reciprocate on each other's channels. That will be so much fun. And then Carrie telling Jason hi. Carrie says, "Hello, Rockin Keto Amy. I'm early. I thought I would find the worm. It was nowhere to be found." And then Carrie also says, "I got another Keto Chow, my Chow box, and it had the big bag of vanilla cream, and I mixed that the other day with the lemon meringue and pork belly fat. It was good. The chocolate malt with pork belly fat is not good," he says. And then he also says, "Thank you, Rockin Keto Amy. Everyone says I should be in stand-up. Not sure since I've never tried. You are very funny, and you don't know until you try something, Carrie. So maybe that's something you could work on." And then Carrie says, "One of my jokes I came up with, I was in the store and this woman was stocking cinnamon, pepper, and other spices. And I said, 'Cool, a spice girl.' And she turned and gave me a scary look." It's funny. And then he also says, "Thank you. I guess I need to figure out how to get on stage for America's Got Talent." There you go. Check out where they're going to be and see if you can get on there. And then he also says, if you put more than 2 doors on a chicken coop, it might become a sedan. Funny. And he says, "Everyone will laugh. I found out why my electric bill was high, and since there isn't much in the fridge, it works harder." Yes, that is true. "I put in 2 of my very huge water bottles to fake out the fridge." That is very smart, Carrie. Good job. And then he also says, "I did a portfolio on my LinkedIn page under my name and didn't get as many hits as I thought it would get." Maybe you could look on YouTube to research how to increase your views on LinkedIn. That's what I always do when I need some assistance. And Evelyn is in the house, and she says, "Hello, friends, and happy Mother's Day" from Evelyn. And then Carrie says, "Hello, Evelyn." That's kind of become her nickname ever since Dustin mentioned that on his channel. Carrie telling everybody happy Mother's Day to the moms, and me because I'm a cat mom. So I wish you a happy Mother's Day. Thank you. And he also says, "I wish the moms at church happy Mother's Day. They all got a rose at the end of church and a gift. I don't have my mom, and my stepmom stopped talking to me in 2011. I'm sorry to hear that, Carrie." And then he says, "I know in the UK they do Mother's Day in March. I did not know that." And Carrie telling Evelyn hi, Jason telling Evelyn hi. And also saying, "I hit the like button a trillion times." Okay, I know there's more chat. I don't know why it's not popping up. because I saw my dad was in here. Hold on, let me see if I can fix this dock, full height docks. Ooh, what happened there? Okay, let me bring this over here because something's going on with the chat, which I thought I just fixed, but it's only showing me Carrie's chat being the last chat. All right, so let me just pull this over here again. Weird. This is like the second week in a row I've had problems with this. Okay. So my dad's in the house. And Evelyn says, thank you, Evelyn. She says, hit that like button. And then my dad's here. And then Carrie says, I hit the like button so many times. And then my dad says, LOL, on, off, on, off, on, off. Lynn is in the house, 22Q Cat. Hey, Lynn, welcome. And then dad's telling everybody, hi, I'm here on time this week. I already sent a dish for Amy. Yeah, dad's going to be my taste tester tonight. So I'm going to send him some of the chili cheese bake home. Okay, everybody's saying hi. And Carrie says this will be such a cool bake. And then he has another joke that Chili went to the beach during the summer to bake. And then people cheering my sister Janine on. Yes, we are proud of her. And then Carrie says, I will have to look that up. I had AI to help when I did the portfolio. Yes, and Dad is here. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about this. Tonight I'm making cheesy chili bake. And this recipe is not my recipe. It comes from the Diet Doctor website. And I posted the recipe in the comments. What happened this week is I had another recipe that I found on Facebook, but I actually practiced that recipe. And it kind of was a fail. So I had to hurry up and come up with another recipe to do. And so this one sounded really good. And it's in my list. Like every time I find one I want to do, I add it to my list. And full disclosure, I have not yet ever made this recipe. So you are going to be watching me make this live with no practice, just because the recipe I planned on doing failed. I still may do that in another live stream, but it may have to be later because I have another idea to use that for. And okay, so we are going to get started on that recipe. I have the oven preheating at 350 degrees. I'm going to change my camera over and bring my recipe with me here. Okay, so right now you're looking at the stovetop. You're looking at my stovetop. I'm going to go ahead and turn that burner on. So I just flipped that burner on. The first thing we're going to do is I have some hamburger. And we're going to go ahead and put the hamburger into the skillet. Now, I'm doing this a little different than what the recipe says. They said put some olive oil in the pan and fry up your veggies first. But I'm going to go ahead and just do this all with the hamburger. Fry it up because it will soften. Then the next thing I have, and this is probably more than a pound of hamburger. This is probably double that. But if I'm going to make something, I'm going to make it. So I'll usually make double recipes. So then I have, these are 2 small onions. So I'm going to go ahead and put the onions in here. And again, I pre-chop these before the live to save us some time. Then I have a green pepper. I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. So we're going to add that. We're also going to add a diced red bell pepper to the mix. I might have needed a bigger pan, but we'll find out. It is what it is at this point. And then one last thing we're going to add right now. I have 3 crushed cloves of garlic. It said 2. I added an extra one, but I probably needed more than that because This is like double the recipe. All right, so we're going to put all that in here. Normally I cook the hamburger before the live stream, but in order to add all these ingredients, I felt it was important to do this on camera. Again, I probably should have gotten my bigger skillet out. Feel free to chat. Okay, we got Sean's in the house. Hey, Sean. Sean Bradley. Good evening, all. Hope all the mothers had a happy Mother's Day. I did. I hope you, Michelle, had a happy Mother's Day too. And that concert you went to the other night looked amazing. I'm a little jealous. Sean went to a Metallica concert. All right, so we're browning up some ground beef. And we're browning up some ground beef. I put a diced green pepper, a couple of small diced onions, a diced red bell pepper. And yeah, Evelyn, you can never have too much garlic. That is for sure. Evelyn says you can never have too much garlic. As a matter of fact, I don't think that's enough garlic. So when we go to do the seasonings, I may add some of the garlic powder. So we're basically just cooking up the ground beef. And like I said, normally I do this ahead of time, but there were so many things you add in here with the ground beef. So this might take a few minutes so we can chat while we're doing this. So feel free to post in the chat. I can cook the hamburger and read the chats at the same time. Sean tells Evelyn hi. Everyone's saying hi to each other. Thank you all for joining. You'll notice at the top of the screen, there's a subscriber count. I am a little excited. I know I have a long way to go to reach my 1,000 goal, but I jumped from like 160 subscribers to 182 in a matter of like 48 hours. So I'm pretty excited about that. And Evelyn says, yes, you want the flavors to meld, right? They said cook, the recipe will say, cook the onions and green peppers ahead of and then add the ground beef in, but it's all gonna cook together and they will soften as you're cooking the ground beef. I mean, we've all made recipes where we've added ground beef and peppers and onions together and it will cook down. Sean, Carrie says, Rockin Keto Amy, when I worked at the Coliseum in South Carolina, I would help setting up rock bands and WWC wrestling. I think that is, I helped set up KISS. That was crazy. Then AC/DC, they shot up 21 cannons at the end. That is awesome, Carrie. Sean says, the concert was amazing. They made national news because when they played Enter Sandman, it registered on the Richter scale. That's the school's entrance song for the football team. Yeah, so yeah, my husband's a huge football fan. And he noticed every time he watches them play, it's nuts. I mean, they are jumping up and down in the stadium. Yeah, we've noticed that too. And Carrie says, that's cool stuff, Sean. Cruz Valero, welcome in the house. I just met Cruz tonight over on a Tuber Chat, which is a small YouTube channel support. So Cruz, we are making a cheesy chili bake. And right now I've doubled the recipe a little bit because this is going to be my dinner for the week. So I have a couple pounds of hamburger and a green pepper, diced green pepper, diced onion, diced red pepper, and some fresh pressed garlic. So we're just heating this all up, cooking it. Sorry, this is going to take a few minutes to get it right. The other thing is the recipe did not call to drain the grease. But I don't want all this grease in my chili bake. I don't know. I know we're supposed to increase fat on this diet, but I don't want the grease in there. So we're going to drain the grease when we're done here. And everybody Ruloctin is here. I also met Ruloctin. Is that how I say it? Ruloctin? Ruloctin is here. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I also met Ruloctin on the small tuber chat channel too. Thank you for joining. Welcome, welcome everybody. And Carrie telling Evelyn hi. Ruloctin just said just left your house and left a few gifts. I will reciprocate and leave you a few gifts too. And if you want, Ruloctin, if you have a playlist with all of your videos in it, I will cue that up and watch them and give you some watch hours. Are you locked in? What does that mean? Are you locked in? That's how you say it. Are you locked in? Okay, I'll remember that. Are you? That's funny. Sorry. I kind of messed that one up a little bit. But thank you for letting me know how to say that. Are you locked in? That's brilliant. Yep. Are you locked in? Yep. That is awesome. Thank you for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you being here. We are making, this is not my recipe. We are making a recipe from the Diet Doctor. And this is a keto friendly recipe, but you do not have to be keto to enjoy something like this, because this is going to be so good. Now, we do not put, in the keto world, we do not put beans in our chili. If you wanted to add beans, you could add beans, I'm sure. But I don't eat beans because they're a little higher in carbs, so we're not going to add them here. This is getting pretty cooked here. I see a few red spots, but it'll be done shortly, so thank you for your patience. Sean says focus. It's okay, so I just have to say, live cooking shows are not the easiest thing to do, especially when you're reading chats and cooking. There's a lot going on. As a matter of fact, I was setting up my live stream, and up until 5 minutes before the live stream, I forgot my mic. So I had to go grab the mic off the charger and get that set up. And I was like, I would have gone live and started talking to you guys and not had any audio. So I have a checklist of things I run through before I go live, and I must have been a little bold because I kind of winged it tonight. Oh, there's a red spot there. We want to make sure it's all cooked. This is high fat hamburger because I wait for hamburger to go on sale at I think it's my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Oh, Gordon's Food Store. They have $2.99 a pound sales for the fattier type of ground beef, and I always watch every week. So you're going to have a lot of fat, cook off of that. But I usually get 2 10-pound tubes when they have it on sale. Okay, this is looking pretty good. So I am going to turn the burner off. I'm going to grab my hot pads, and then you're not going to see this, but I'm going to drain this into the sink. So bear with me, hang tight. I'm still here. And I'm going to need the spatula actually, because there's just a lot in here. Okay, let me do a better job of this. All right, so I'm just draining the grease off of this off camera, but I will be back shortly. Cool. I'm using my spatula because there's quite a bit of hamburger. Okay, I think I got most of the grease off. So what I'm going to do next, I'm just going to put my pan back here. All right, we're going to just mix this in this pan. So I have my drained ground beef. Bring this back over here. All right, and there might be a little fat still in there. That's okay. So we're just going to put this back in the pan. We got the most of the grease drained off. Now we're going to add the other ingredients. So what we're going to add is, and again, I'm going to increase these a little bit because I doubled the recipe. So it calls for 2 teaspoons of ground cumin. And I might even increase it a little more because I like spicy and my dad likes spicy. So we're going to do 4, maybe 5 teaspoons of this. And again, this is just cumin. Okay, we're going to put that in there. The next thing we're going to add, and I may increase this too, because I like a lot of chili powder in my chili. So we're going to put some chili powder in there. And it only says 1 teaspoon, but I think we're going to put like 3 or 4 in there. Because again, I just don't feel like this is enough. 2, 3, 4. We may need more. I may have to taste this before I actually put it in. Again, I've never made this before. The recipe I originally wanted to make failed. So the next thing we're going to do, I know this is upside down, but I took off the wrong side. We're going to put in some tomato paste. It says 2 teaspoons, but again, I think I'm going to do like 4. So I don't know if you can see me doing this, but I'm kind of banging it on the side. Again, another one. Okay, so we got our tomato paste in there. The next thing it calls for is 8 ounces of crushed or diced tomatoes. And again, I doubled the recipe, so this is a 14.5 ounce jar. So I'm going to pour that in there. And I think we decided I'm going to take Evelyn's advice, and we're going to put a little bit more garlic in here. Okay, so maybe another teaspoon of granulated garlic or powdered garlic. All right, so there's that, because I like garlic. Now I'm going to stir. Oh, wait. Also, this is not in the recipe, but I add this to all my recipes. My favorite is this Redmond's Organic Seasoned Salt. So I'm probably going to add maybe a half a teaspoon of that. Okay. Put that in there. Like so. Then I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of my favorite salt, which is regular Redmond's real salt. So we're going to put that on there too. And then we're going to add some pepper. It just says salt and pepper to taste. And I like my salt. So we are going to probably do maybe, I don't know, a fourth a teaspoon of pepper. So black pepper. I don't know if you can see that, black pepper. And then a fourth a teaspoon. So we'll put that in there. Then we're going to mix this all together. Okay. I suspect we're going to need more chili powder and cumin. But, and again, that's the good thing about a recipe like this. You can mix this up, taste it, and then see how you like it. I think it needs more seasoning. Oh, let's mix that tomato. It doesn't really look like a chili yet. So I don't know about Diet Doctor's like amounts. So we're just mixing this together. Okay. All right. What I'm going to do, I'm going to taste this and see if it needs anything else. So I just stir it up a little more. I know my dad is going to be taste testing this, and I think he likes it with a little more seasoning, although it's looking pretty good. Let me just see here. Pretty good. I think I'm going to add maybe like another teaspoon of chili powder. Okay? So I'm going to put in another teaspoon of chili powder. And you can make this to taste. So it's okay to taste it in between. Make sure you like it. All right, let's see what everybody's saying here. Yeah, don't burn yourself, Amy. Hold on. Let me see where I left off. Everyone telling, are you locked in? Yep, focus. So no beans for me, more meat. Yes, Evelyn. Are You Locked In says, my name is Chip. Are You Locked In is our movement, a group of content creators that got together to help creators grow. Well, that is awesome. I'm so glad I found your channel. And everyone saying, nice to meet you, Chip. And Carrie says, yay, no beans. I've had the church people put beans in chili and said I thought Texas chili didn't have beans, and they had beans. I don't think Texas chili has beans either. Last time I had some lentils and that bound me up. No to beans, yes. We like ours with meat. Texas meat and eggs are bananas in price, yeah. And Crew's telling, are you locked in? Hi. And Evelyn says, don't burn yourself, Amy. I've been known to do that a time or two. And this is a big pan, and it's pretty heavy. Are You Locked In? Cruz, your channel is great. Love your attitude and info you share. I'm so glad I found both of you. And Cruz says, thank you, new friend. And then Ellen says, the more fat, the merrier. Yeah, I left some of the fat in the pan. I didn't drain it totally, but that was just like a soup of fat. Lynn says, $2.99 a pound for ground beef. Wow, no prices like that in my area for quite a while. Guess I should move. Well, I would love to have you as a neighbor. Okay, so this looks pretty good. I'll come back to comments in a second. I'm going to move this over. Honestly, I don't even think I was going to grease this pan, but this hamburger is so greasy, I don't even think I need to do that. So again, I mentioned before, I'm preheating the oven at 350 degrees. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put, I got to lift this again. Oh my gosh, this is so heavy. Okay. Don't judge me, guys. We are going to put the contents of this, there we go, I got it, into this baking dish. And again, I was going to spray it, but this mix is so greasy, I don't need it. Okay. Carefully scrape the hot contents without burning yourself, like Evelyn said, into the pan. And yeah, this is pretty greasy, which will make it taste really good. I'm just using, you could put jalapenos in here. You can put whatever you want. So I'm basically gonna just spread this out even in the pan, and then we're gonna add cheese. My stovetop is kind of turning into a hot mess. I'm gonna have to clean it when we're done. Okay, so I have some cheddar cheese, but I didn't think this was gonna be enough. And I shred my own cheese, which is why it's in a bag like that. So we are going to just top this with cheese. Okay. Post in the comments if you would try this. Would you try this dish even if you're not keto, do you think you would try this dish? And of course you could add beans to it if you wanted to, but I'm keto, so we don't do that. And that's not enough cheese. It said 1 cup of cheese. So I also have some Colby cheese here. We'll add that. Sorry, this is one that had a little bit in it. Sorry, Dad, I'm touching this, but it's going to go in the oven. Okay, we're going to add some more cheese. I have some more Colby here, just because I like a lot of cheese. Now, some people can't have cheese. So, I mean, you know, you'd probably have to make this without cheese. But you could just bake it and then, okay, so that looks pretty good. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to flip my camera over. And hi, everybody. You can see my face now. Sorry, it's a hot mess over here, so don't look at my mess on the counter. And I lost one of my hot pads. Not sure where that went. So I'm going to grab another one. And we got the oven preheating at 350. And I'm just going to put this in the oven. So we're just going to throw that in there. Hopefully you all can see me. Put that in the oven. And then I'm going to set these aside and we're going to come back here and we're going to talk some more. So let me grab this. All right. So maybe my chat is back working. I'm not sure what's going on. It's the second week in a row. Okay. You see what's going on here? Yeah, this stopped. Let me see if I can refresh it. Oh, there's a way to refresh it. Interesting. Oh. Yeah, it's... All right, we'll just read them off of here. It's fine. So, Carrie says, Rockin Keto Amy had to pick up the cumin. Had to pick up the cumin off the floor since it was ground. You're so funny. Okay, one other thing I got to do here before we get too far into this, I got to set a timer. So we're baking this for 20 minutes. And I'm going to bake it a little longer because it's like double. So I'm just going to say, Ziggy, set timer for 25 minutes. So we're going to be here for a little while. That's okay. We'll talk. And then Evelyn says, do you freeze the rest of your tomato paste in ice cube trays to use later? No, I do freeze it though. And I freeze it usually in the portions that I need for spaghetti sauce. But let me show you what I did. Last week, I made French toast, right? And I had leftover syrup. So what I did with the syrup, and I'll pop these out afterwards. I went ahead and I put the leftover syrup, Maria Emmerich syrup, into this ice cube tray. And it's frozen now, so I'll put it in a baggie when I get done. So I have thought about using ice cube trays to freeze stuff. So yes, I probably will do that with this too. That is a great idea. Every week I learn something new from you, Evelyn. And Evelyn says, no vampires at your house. No. And funny thing is, I think I get that from my mother because she loves her garlic too. Carrie says, Evelyn's so funny. No vampires at Amy's house. And then Evelyn says, nowhere near as funny as Master Carrie. I will say Carrie is very funny. And Evelyn says, looks good. I'm all for it. When it comes out of the oven, bacon and sour cream on top. I would probably top mine with sour cream and guacamole, but and you could put bacon. You know, I wish I would have thought of that, but I'm following this recipe. You could put bacon in the recipe to make it even better. And Lynn22QCat says, I would definitely make this. And yes, sour cream and bacon on top sounds wonderful. I agree. Carrie says, thank you, Amy, and thank you, Evelyn. And then Carrie says, that's how you fix broken tomatoes, with tomato paste. Funny. And Lynn says, looking forward to your pizza pot pie recipe. Yes, so I made pizza pot pie and I filmed it. And that is my recipe. So I saw a SAD diet. And for the people who aren't keto, we call standard American diet SAD diet. It's just the acronym for it. I found a recipe come across, I don't know, Facebook for pizza pot pie. And it was just a regular recipe. So I didn't even look at it to see what was in it. And I thought, oh my gosh, I used to love like deep dish Chicago style pizza. And we're not far from Chicago. So I'm like, I'm going to make a new pizza deep dish, like casserole pizza recipe and call it pizza pot pie. So I'm working on editing that. I was going to drop it like immediately, but what I think I'm going to do is wait to release it because I'm going out of town to Florida starting the 23rd through the 31st. And so I won't have live streams probably for 2 weeks. So I'll probably drop that video while I'm gone. So you guys at least get some content from me while I'm gone. Carew says, hi to Lynn, 22QCat. Carrie says, if you freeze coffee, then you can make iced coffee. and the ice cubes won't dilute the coffee. That is a great idea, Carrie. Are you locked in? Says, my bad, y'all. I'm here, but about to jump on the beltway. I'm assuming that's driving. So drive safe, be safe. And then Carrie says, I can't wait to see the pizza recipe. Yes. Now, granted, it's a little bit more involved than like just doing pizza in a bowl, but you can make parts of it ahead of time, and you can make the whole thing and freeze it, or you can bake it and then cut it and then freeze it. So there's a lot of things you can do when you have time. Yeah, bye. Are you locked in? Evelyn says, thanks for stopping by. Yes, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate your support. And then Lynn says, pizza plus pot pie equals delicious. I'm not going to lie. It is very good. I like it. And then Carrie says, my first time in Chicago when I was a kid going into the Navy, I had Chicago deep dish pizza, and it was so good back in the day before keto. Yes, I do miss a good, like, Chicago thick style pizza. But this isn't exactly like that, but it's good, really good. It's like a thick pizza casserole, like pot pie. Are you locked in? Evan, y'all stuck with me. LOL, still connected. He's still there. Awesome. And then Lintel and Cruz Bolero, hey there. And Evelyn says, always happy you're here. Yes, yes, yes. We are happy you're here. So sorry I can't post the chats anymore. I don't know what's going on, but they're not refreshing. So I'll have to look into that, which is funny because I just fixed it for this week and it appeared to be working when we started. Not sure what's happening. Interesting. Anyway, I'll work on that for next week. But at least we're able to live stream. Okay, so Carrie says the pizza won't pass the drug test being a pot pie. That's funny. And Evelyn says, I'm Chicago born and raised, moved away at 26 when I got married. So Evelyn, what was your favorite place to get pizza in Chicago? And did you like thin crust? Did you like, the deep dish pizza pie? You were like, right, you were born on the Indiana side though, right? Just in the Chicago, like not far from the border, if I remember correctly, because you said you were from Indiana. So, okay, I'm going to grab some water. Oh, and also I'm fasting tonight, but I am going to try a bite of this to tell you whether or not I think it's good, although I'm pretty sure it's going to be amazing. Lynn says, I'm such a sucker for great casseroles, great comfort food that remind me of my childhood memories. Yes. And the other thing is I like to make chili, but it takes a long time to make chili, in my opinion, if you do it right. My favorite chili that I make is Keto Dad's recipe, because you take, but I should do that recipe, or at least a video on it, because I kind of changed a few things up. I don't ever like to just make videos on someone's recipe because it's their recipe. I will do live streams and test the recipe with you, but I kind of did a flair on it. So I think it would be okay to do that. But chili in general takes a long time to cook, where this recipe, you just, fry everything up in a pan, stick it in a casserole dish, bake it for 20 minutes, and it's good to go. Yeah, I'm such a sucker for great casseroles, great comfort food that reminds me of my childhood memories. And Evelyn says, love an oven. So funny. So, a couple weeks from now, I'm traveling to Florida. I think some of you will be going to the Indiana AMO meetup. So just to let you know, I believe that's on the 28th. Is it on the 28th? What day is it? Evelyn, what day is the meetup? You're going to that, right? That's on the 24th. I think it's on the 24th, which is a Saturday. And Jacqueline Smith is who you need to RSVP to. I think there's a $25 fee. Or just get a hold of Dustin. If you guys all know Keto Simple Dustin. I won't be there because I'll be in Florida. The other thing I'm going to try to document while I'm in Florida, because it's been a few years since I traveled, and the last person I traveled to see being keto was my sister Janine, and she's also keto. So she cooked for us. So it made it really easy, that trip. But we're staying with friends now, and they're not keto. So I just ordered single packets of keto chow. The other thing I did was I am going to ship a shaker bottle to her house from Amazon so that I can make the keto chow. We'll probably go shopping at like Costco or something and pick up some heavy whipping cream, pick up some hard-boiled eggs, and then we'll have to eat out at sometimes because I don't want to put them out. Yeah, Evelyn says lowcarbevents.com, lowcarbevents.com. So we will probably have a live stream next week. So next week is the 18th. There will be no live stream on the 25th. And there will probably not be a live stream on the 1st because I'll just be getting home. I'll probably be too tired. So sorry about that. But I'm going to try to at least come up with one video in that time. Yeah. Thank you, Evelyn, for posting the link. Lowcarbevents.com is where you can go register for the AMO, which is near Indianapolis meetup, Indianapolis, Indiana. So, and we have 9 people watching. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Oh, and Evelyn says, by the way, Italian heritage, and my mom can't cook. I had to learn it all. So I'm Italian. My mom is Italian as well. My mom can cook. My mom didn't teach me to cook. Sorry if you're listening, Mom. But I think what happened was there were 5 of us, and by the time she got to me, she was done teaching kids stuff. I mean, we just got to school and got dressed and stuff, which is fine. Evelyn says, we will miss you. I will be at the Safe Harbor event on June 28th. That's in Ohio. So I will be traveling to that one. Evelyn, I know you and Carl will just be getting off the Alaskan cruise, but I think you're still going to go for Saturday. And Andy and Susan are both going on the Alaska cruise. So I'm going to drive down there a day early. We probably won't have a live that weekend either. I'm going to drive down a day early and help Andy and Susan meal prep. Yeah, it's on the weekend of the Indy 500. How exciting. Yes. Yes. So please check out lowcarbevents.com for information on these events. And also, if you find that if you like my content, please share this with your friends. It doesn't cost anything. I am trying to get my subscriber count up, so that only helps me, but it also helps your friends because I try to demo a new recipe every week that I'm live. And they're not all my recipes. It's just to give everybody ideas so that you don't get bored or stagnant, or maybe for the new people who are thinking about going keto, to see that you're not just always just eating meat on your plate. There's other things you can do with food that is exciting. Carrie says, my dad was the one that put me in the kitchen at 13, and then I asked him to show me how to bake. He didn't know since he never measured anything. Then in South Carolina, I watched the Food Networks to learn to bake. I think I just started reading cookbooks. I just bought cookbooks, in my early 20s and just started learning, and they didn't always turn out. I probably misinterpreted a lot, but I just got better over time. What else while we're waiting? I think I mentioned this, but I am now able to bring guests on. And I'm not going to do that all the time because my theme is cooking, but I'd like to add some variety to my live streams. And I want to start, bringing people into my channel and talking. those will be separate from the cooking. They'll either be in place of or separate from the cooking live streams. So if you want to be on a live stream and talk about your story, talk about yourself, talk about anything, please send me an email at ketorockstars21@gmail.com. And again, that's in the ticker. And Carrie says, I have a lot of cookbooks to read. I missed my calling as a chef to get into computers. Yes, you probably did. Now, I have slowly been putting all of my favorite recipes into this Recipe Keeper app. Let me see if I can pull this up. Hold on. This is Recipe Keeper. I don't know if you can see this or not. This is what it looks like. Let me pull that back a little bit. But anyway, it's called Recipe Keeper. I put all my recipes in it. I did a live stream. I did a technology live stream, and I showed everybody how to use Recipe Keeper. So I put all of my recipes into this app. That way I can just search for things. If you can search by ingredients, you can search by title, you can make favorites. I can't remember to pull out different books. So I put all of my books in there. You can copy and paste a link from a web page, and it puts that like you just copy the link in there and hit save. And again, if you haven't seen that live stream, go back to my live streams, and it's like got the computer screen in the thumbnail, so you won't miss it. Lynn says guests will be fun. Yes, Lynn, you want to come on my channel? And Evelyn says I'll come on your channel. Great, Evelyn. I'm going to reach out to you, and we're going to schedule a time. I think just Jason Keto. I've been working really hard this week to practice. I don't use StreamYard. I use OBS. And OBS is a very technical software for people who are computer savvy, like who are really good with computers. But you have to install and find programs to plug into it. StreamYard is pretty much plug and play. So StreamYard, it has all the bells and whistles, but they charge a lot of money. They charge big subscription fees. So, and honestly, I'm not being paid to do this. I don't make any money. I don't have any sponsors. I have spent a little money on some cameras, some upgrades to my computer, but beyond that, I do not want to pay fees for software. So I've worked really hard this week to find a free plugin to bring guests in. So Evelyn, I'm going to message you, and we're going to set something up. My dad says, JAD608 says, Carrie, I graduated and joined the Navy at 17. I can still remember my mom standing on a platform of South Shore as I was leaving for Great Lakes. And Evelyn just shared my email again, ketorockstars21@gmail.com. So I think, okay, so I'll do Jason, and then we'll do Evelyn. And then there's another, this is a local group of ladies. They're amazing. They own it's called Wholesome Package. And honestly, I just started keto. It's when I was going through all of my hip surgeries and I couldn't cook. And they had keto options. This is a place they cater health food, and they have keto options. And so I met these ladies because in 2019, I was buying pizza crust. They had ready-made meals you could buy. And so they each have a great story too. They're not necessarily keto, but they're into a healthy eating lifestyle and promoting healthy eating. And so I'm probably going to schedule them to come on live. So stay tuned for that. And again, if you're not local, you can't order food from them, but just hearing their story might be inspiring. So I'm working on that. I also have anybody know Rick Charger Mopar Rick? The 40-year carnivore. I have asked him to come on the channel and he said yes. So I need to find a way to reach out to him and get him scheduled. He is hilarious. He's just so much fun. Hey, Rick Twinbrook Acres is here. How you doing, Rick? Greetings all. And Evelyn says my father-in-law has started some keto meal delivery stuff. That is awesome. And then Lynn says, Rick's here. Yay. Thank you for joining us, Rick. Rick, you missed the whole recipe. I know you don't like to make recipes, but you missed, the meat of it. But that's okay. You'll get to see the end product. Carrie says to my dad, JAD608, I went to boot camp and hospital corpsman at a school at Great Lakes. Awesome. And then Rick is telling Evelyn and Lynn hi. Thank you so much for joining. Let's see if we can get this working again. Nope, it's not going to work. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, but not happy. So, and it also, if there is a type of food or recipe you would like to see, drop that in the comments too, and I'll do some research and try to find something. I will be probably releasing my pizza pot pie video in a couple weeks, and that turned out really good. So Rick says, I lost track of time, and recipes are way over my head anyway. I'm going to get you cooking eventually, even if it's something with just 2 ingredients in the microwave. Speaking of, did you all see Chris Cook in Nashville's carnivore 90-second bread video? If you haven't seen that video, go out and look at that. That looks just amazing, and it looks very easy, and there's only a few ingredients in it. Okay, Sean says, hiya, New Hampshire Rick. Okay, so what else? Let me see how much time is left. Ziggy, how much time on the timer? Ziggy's ignoring me. Ziggy, how much time left on the timer?
Good evening, Amy. There are no timers set.
Did I not set a timer? Okay, I'm going to check this because Ziggy apparently failed me. Oh my goodness. I don't know if it's been... The cheese is melted. I'm going to set a timer for 5 more minutes because I believe it was 7:30 when I put it in the oven because I looked at the clock. So Ziggy, set timer for 5 minutes.
5 minutes, starting now.
I'm glad I looked at the clock when I put it in. So we'll be okay, and it's not going to burn. Oh, Evelyn says, did you see my Mounds fudge? No. Did you? Oh, actually, I did. I saved it because I believe Dustin posted the recipe on his channel, and I downloaded it, and it's going in my recipe keeper. Did you write that recipe, Evelyn, or is that like one of Two Crazy Ketos? Or no, that's your recipe because it had your little name across it. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm gonna have to make that. Carrie says, when I went to Great Lakes back in the 90s for Great Lakes, they mentioned it being great mistakes. I went back after going home on leave, and the lakes were frozen over and the snow to my shins. Evelyn says, Carl made the 90-second carnivore bread. How was it, Evelyn? Was it good? Well, I imagine it is because everything Chris has is wonderful. So, oh, Evelyn says you got 4 minutes left according to my time. Thank you, Evelyn. Yeah, Lynn, Ziggy is being rude, no timer. And I don't know what his issue is, but he needs to get with the program. Carrie says it's only 7 my time here. Yeah, are you central? You're central time then, Carrie. And then Rick says, I've learned how to mix berries into leafy greens. Woohoo! That's a recipe. Guess what? You made a recipe. My dad, Jim, says, I ended up in guided missile school at Damnick, Virginia, but ended up a FTG-3 as a kiddie cruiser extended for Vietnam. I was discharged in time for my sister Angela's birth. Thank goodness, Dad. I'm glad you didn't go to Vietnam. Carrie says, I'll have to look at the fudge recipe. Evelyn says, I tweaked the basic fudge recipe for Keto Chow. I thought maybe you did that. And I'm going to have to make some of that because it sounds delicious. And Evelyn confirms it is so yummy. And then Carrie says, that's cool stuff, Jim. And then Carrie says, yeah, Rockin Keto Amy. I am Central Time here in Texas. Boy, Central Time goes a far way because I would have thought you were, is it Mountain Time? I think my sister's Janine is in Mountain Time. She's near Vegas. So, yeah, this is almost done. And then I'm going to bring it over here and I'm going to put it on the island here and show you all what this looks like. And we'll talk a few more minutes. We're probably going to go a little bit over an hour tonight because this, casserole takes a little time to prepare and a little time to, bake. But that's when we can always talk. Okay, you're in the Gulf Coast for Central Time. Yep. So there's more than one time zone in Texas then, Carrie? My dad says -30 during November, December, and January. No, thank you. And as a matter of fact, we're in northern Indiana, and this winter almost killed me. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't see my friends, except for you all, because the kitchen is nice and warm and toasty when you're cooking in it. But the winters are starting to get hard for me up here, which is why a lot of our friends moved to Florida. But I'm happy because then, I can just go visit them like I am in 2 weeks. Okay. Another thing I discovered tonight, and Sean, you're a tech. Sean and Carrie are both tech people, and my dad. I had to move my computer out into the middle of the room because I tried to have it hidden over here in the corner, but I realized the internet right there on Wi-Fi was too slow to live stream. So I just ordered an extender, a Wi-Fi extender, so that I can put my computer anywhere in the room, and hopefully I'm going to plug the Wi-Fi extender over there and in the wall plug, and hopefully that should help with my internet issues. That way I don't have to have the computer right in the middle of the room. But I was struggling earlier today with internet issues, and then I realized it was where the computer was located. So if you ever struggle with Wi-Fi speeds, and the website I use to test that is speedtest.net. You could also just go to Google speed test too. But if you're a YouTuber or a live streamer, guess what time it is? Yay. Ziggy, stop. Okay, so put this down. Ziggy, stop. Ziggy's not listening today. Let me get some hot pads ready. We're going to get some hot pads ready. I'm going to go grab this out of the oven. Move this over here so I don't trip on it. Okay. We're going to cancel the oven. I'm pretty sure this is done. It looked amazing a couple minutes ago. So, check it again. Oh my gosh. Oh, that smells amazing. I love chili. Okay, this is piping hot. I'm going to be very careful. All right, so let me bring this down here and give you, can everybody see that? Hold on, I'm going to adjust my camera here. Can everybody see that? It smells and looks so delicious. Like yum. It is piping hot. Like piping hot. But it looks so good. It's still bubbling. Woo! I just lost my camera. Okay. It's still bubbling. So I am not going to dish that up yet. Put this back up here. Sorry, I dropped my camera. Okay. I'm going to let that cool for just a couple minutes before I try it. Now, one other thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to take a little bit out and give some to my dad before I do this, but I am going to sprinkle some cilantro, some fresh cilantro on the top. Lynn says Ziggy is fired. Yeah. Ziggy, tell me a joke.
Why did the pig cross the road?
Why?
To say, we all the way home.
Okay. Evelyn says, Jim, have you always been in the Northwest Indiana, Illinois area? Yes. So we're in Mishawaka, and Evelyn and I live in this house, and they live in the house next door, and that was the house I grew up in. So I'm still in the same neighborhood I was born and raised in. Okay, so Sean says some of the extenders have a max 50 megabytes per second. If you get an extender with an Ethernet port on it, you can get over 100. Is that down, Sean? Is that down speed? Because what I really want the max for live streaming is up speed. I really don't care about the download speed in this room, but I have to have a good up speed to be able to broadcast up to YouTube. So, and I used to work in my living room and I would get like 150 megabytes per second. So I'm more worried about the upload speed. But if it's not good, I'll send it back. Carrie says Marshall Mathers was in the candy aisle, found out his favorite is chocolate M&Ms. Eminem, the rapper. That's so funny. Evelyn says, yum, I wish I had smell-o-vision. I am going to have a bite, and it's probably going to mess me up because I want to eat a whole bowl. But I'm not going to fast when I'm on vacation, Evelyn. There's no way I can make the type of foods I need to eat without just not eating the whole day. So I'm just going to enjoy my vacation and go off that for a week. Carrie says that bake looks so good. Well, we're going to try it here in a minute. Okay, Sean says that's both. 50 megabytes per second upload speed is really good. And all I really need is between 8 and 15 upload speed. So that extender I got should work. Yeah, and Carrie is correct. The upload speed is always lower than the download speed. Right. But I don't sit in here and stream a lot, well, actually I kind of do. But where I'm streaming is like on my TV or over at this island, and this area is good. It's just over in that corner back there so I have my cameras cabled into my computer. So I don't like to have like my computer screen showing in the camera, so I try to put it in this corner, and for whatever reason it's a dead spot. So that's kind of why I'm doing that. Evelyn says, Dad says South Shore at 17, so I figured your grandparents, yes, were also in the region. Okay, so grew up next door. We're like the streets have numbers, so we're in between 7th and 8th Street. My grandparents, where my mom was raised, was like a couple blocks away on 4th Street. So my mom grew up like really close to where we are now, and I used to go to I could walk to my grandparents' house from here. They're no longer with us. But yeah, so, and my dad says, yeah, born here. Mom and I were born in the same hospital, and our 5 kids were. Yes. And then Dad, you grew up on what street? Was that 16th Street, or what was Grandma Duval's house on? Was that that was on the west side of Union? And then Rick says, Jim, was Glenview the Naval Air Station outside of Chicago? If I remember correctly, that is where my father was stationed after World War II. So I'll let my dad answer that. Okay, so it's cooled down a little bit. Let me come over here to the recipe. Put the camera down here. See if can you guys see that? Okay. Let me put it right there. Hopefully you can see that. Okay. So what we're going to do, the first thing I'm going to do, my dad, sorry, I was a little awkward at changing the camera angle there. My dad has given me a little bowl to dig him a taste out. Oh man, this looks so good. So we're just going to scoop him some in here. I don't know, you want more than that, Dad? Give you another bite. This is going to be my dinner this week. All right, so I'm going to give my dad a couple bites here so he can, Well, maybe another bite because my mom said she bites here. So he can, well, maybe another bite because my mom said she's going to try it too. I'm glad I didn't. Okay, Dad, here's your portion. Now, the next thing I'm going to do with the rest of it is garnish. My dad does not like cilantro. So I have some cilantro here. I'm just going to garnish, and maybe not too much, but I left the spoon in there too. Ooh, and the spoon's in the cheese now. All right. Ooh, that's hot. Don't drop your spoon in the cheese. Okay, so we're putting some cilantro on here. That's probably good. All right, and I'm going to grab a bite myself. Even though I'm fasting, I guess my glucose will spike a little bit, but oh well. Okay, this is still, I think you would make this, it looks and smells really good, but again, I've never made this before. I just got this recipe because the recipe I was going to make for you failed. All right, so here we go. Oh, it's still piping. I might have to let it cool another minute or two. Let me grab the chat. Yeah, and then 13th Street. Okay, so my grandma on my dad's side lived on 13th Street. And then Evelyn says, wow, Dad, my father's from Hammond, Indiana. Hammond, that's where I was thinking. And then your mom is from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, got married and moved to Indiana, and I lived there until I got married. Dad said, remember, Mom wants the first bite. That's why I put another bite in there. And then Carrie says that portion looks so wonderful and cheesy. I'm telling you, I think this is going to be a winner. And Carrie says, cool, a cheesy spoon. Evelyn says, as an infant, my father was from Arkansas, and we still have relatives there. And Dad joined the Army and left in his teens and came home to meet my mom stateside. Lynn says, that will be so good tomorrow. I think so too. Once it cools and the fat solidifies in there. But I always like things I make better the second day too. Me too. Lynn, I like leftovers. Once it's cooled, you put it in the oven or you put it in the fridge, and then it becomes one solidified thing, and then you heat it. And chili always tastes better the next day. So you can make this, put it in the fridge, and then eat it the next day. Carrie says, I left church today. Usually I give the leftover donuts to the pastor's wife and they take them. No one did. I ate a donut with no one looking since it was 5 years since I had one. I said no more. How was it? Was it good? My favorite was always jelly donuts. And there's some recipes for jelly donuts out there, but they always look so complicated. So I don't know. What I probably would do is find a mug cake that tastes like a jelly donut and then put whatever keto-friendly jelly on top and just call it a day. Okay, good, Carrie. He said, I gave the donuts to someone that needed them on the way home. That's okay. You try to bite, no big deal. I mean, every once in a while, stuff like that, we're going to do it. Carrie says, the casserole like that is always good the next day. I want the right overs. Yeah. And my dad says, I was a war baby and so was Johnette, my mom. And Carrie says they were just regular donuts. It was a chocolate glaze. It was okay. Yum, chocolate glaze. Lynn says leftover is my middle name. Love them. Plus they're already made. And Dad said our dads came home when we were almost a year old in 1945. Yes. Okay, so here goes. I have just a couple tiny bites here. Very good. That's good, and it's not too spicy, but it's got flavor. Definitely would make this again. Very good. Very Gouda, as Carrie would say. Okay, so I had a bite, even though I'm fasting technically, but I felt like I needed to do that. And again, I like mine with cilantro on it. You don't have to use cilantro. A lot of people don't like it. And really, I feel like this recipe could be customizable. You could mix meats. You could put sausage and hamburger in there. You could put, I don't know, you can put bacon in there too. It's just, it's a bake, so you can put whatever you want in there. Oh, so Evelyn says I did Southern Keto's donut recipe with keto chow. So good. Does that require the donut flavored keto chow? Because that one is a temporary, they're out of it, right? Isn't it a temporary flavor? So my only concern about doing stuff with keto chow with temporary flavors is you're not always going to be able to get it, which concerns me. You didn't see me eat it. Oh, because I ate it so quickly? Yeah, I inhaled it because I'm hungry, because I'm fasting, and now it's going to be even worse because I ate something. Yeah, Evelyn's got laughy face. Yeah, it was good. Trust me, I shouldn't be doing stuff like that when I'm fasting, but oh well. You know, I had to take one for the team, Evelyn. Use any flavor. Okay, Evelyn, that's what I was wondering if you could do. Because the cake donut, the birthday cake, all the cake flavors are like temporary flavors. Um, so you know what? I may go watch his video and attempt to make the donuts. That sounds so good. No, not looking. Wink, wink. I didn't even see it. Oh, you didn't see me eat because I'm fasting and that's supposed to see. I get it. You're such a good friend, Evelyn. Friends look out for other friends, or don't look out. They don't look. Friends don't look at other friends. My dad's going to be excited. Sorry, Dad, I'm only giving you a little taste, but that's literally going to be my meal. And oh, let me show you guys this. So we ate, there's not much left. My husband, okay, you're going to laugh at this. My husband had his first piece of the pizza pie today, and I must have ate the rest of it. So of all that's gone, he had, I don't know, he had a pretty big sliver, but I've been eating on this since I made it. And tonight was the first night he got to try that. So, and I filmed that recipe before I even knew it was going to be good. Where did I set the chat at? Oh, it's over here. I lost you guys. Okay. Evelyn says, time to make the donuts. And Carrie says, Rockin Keto Amy, I didn't see anything either. What chili bake? Yeah, what chili bake? There's no chili bake. Rick says, you beat me to it, Evelyn. Time to make the donuts. That was what, Dunkin' Donuts? And Carrie says, that Rockin Keto Amy, that pizza pie looks good too. Well, it is very good. And I'm working on editing the video now. And that will be releasing soon. The good thing about trying new recipes or writing your own recipes and making them, if it's good, you get to eat all of it. So, and Evelyn had a bunch of laughy emojis, and she is sending donuts too. I'm really sad. Oh, I bet you I know what's going on here. Let me look at something really quick. Here, I don't know what happened to my chat. Interesting. I'll have to test that this week. There's always something, honestly. And when you're doing everything yourself, using like OBS Studio, there's a lot of cool things you can do, but getting it to work every time, is another thing. So just trigger a fake test message and see. Anyway, I don't think it matters. Oh, that's weird. There's a smiley face going around the screen. That's awesome. Dad says, oh, so Carrie says, I said that time to make the donuts, and one of the church peeps looked at me like I was crazy since they had never seen that commercial. Yeah, all of us 80s kids and stuff, we remember it. And anyone who was around in the 80s remember it. And my dad says it's 4:30, time to make the donuts. all this talk of donuts, Lynn says, and now I want donuts. Me too, Lynn. Well, I'd be happy just to sit here and chow on this chili bake. But after I mauled that pizza pot pie, I probably need to fast. I had 2 pieces of that. Full disclosure, I had 2 pieces of that pizza pot pie yesterday. One for dinner, and then one for second dinner, which probably not a good thing, but I did. Alrighty, everybody. It is 8:16. Evelyn says, we made the donut recipe in my little electric churro maker. Use snickerdoodle and dip donuts in butter and cinnamon sugar. Oh, cinnamon sugar. I love cinnamon sugar. For those that can eat cinnamon, yes. You can't have cinnamon, Evelyn. I can have cinnamon. But you could substitute the allspice or the nutmeg like you do. And Carrie says, when you fast, then you're not slow. So funny. All right, guys. I think I'm going to wrap it up. So this kitchen is now a mess. Oh my gosh, Andy. Andy just showed up. I'm late, but I'll watch. I was walking off my dinner. You know what, Andy? I'm glad you went for a walk. You can always watch the replay. This recipe is really good. And actually, Andy, if this is something you watch this, because I know you want to do taco themed. This is something potentially that I could make and bring up, and if you have room in your oven, we can bake it before the meetup. So watch the recipe and see if this might be something you want me to make for the meetup. This might be a good one to make for Safe Harbor meetup. And Lynn says, hey Andy. Yeah, Carrie says, Amy, have a great and cheesy night. And Dad says, night all. And Andy says, hey Lynn. Sorry, Andy, I think we're wrapping it up. But we will see you next week, and stay tuned for that pizza pot pie recipe. And everybody, I love you, and thank you for joining me, and we will see you soon. Take care.